And welcome back to Conservative Arkansas Media. My name is Paul Harrell. Thank you so much for being with us. I've got three stories that I've got to get off my chest. We've got to go over today. One of them, not good. The other one, I think good. And then the third one, not good. The first one has to do with the fact that the Arkansas Attorney General has certified ballot language that would allow or start the process for them to gain signatures to get an amendment on the ballot this November to basically overturn all of Arkansas's abortion bans. All of the hard work that has been done over the years trying to make Arkansas, successfully making Arkansas the most pro-life state in the nation, may be undone, and we need to take this very seriously. When it comes to the people of Arkansas going to the ballot box and potentially, the lefties turning out in greater number and voting to kill babies, it's something that we do need to consider, and we do need to take the right steps. Take this seriously. Obviously, tell everybody out there, these signature gatherers are going to be deceptive. It almost always happens this way, where the people that are going to go out, they're going to try to gather signatures to overturn Arkansas's abortion ban, in the wake of the miraculous overturning of Roe versus Wade, and they will likely mislead Arkansans. A lot of women will probably be misled as well to sign this. And so we're going to try to get out in front of this. So this happened yesterday. The Arkansas Democrat-Gazette. This is the headline here, that the Arkansas Attorney General certifies ballot language for the proposed constitutional amendment. That's essentially where we're at right now. Neil Early with this story. Let's dive into it. There you see Attorney General Tim Griffin. I mean, it is his job, to assess ideas for ballot proposals. I mean, I'm to the point now that if I were the Attorney General, I just wouldn't even consider something like this. And I know that would result in a lawsuit, but I'm to the point now where dude, it's evil. Killing babies is evil. So why am I going to help you use a process to kill babies? I actually think, the whole idea should be banned, and you shouldn't even be able to talk about killing babies. I know it's a novel concept, but Arkansas Attorney General Tim Griffin certified ballot language Tuesday for a proposed constitutional amendment that would overturn the state's ban on abortion. Griffin's decision clears the way for the group behind the effort, Arkansans for Limited Government, to begin the signature collection process to get their proposed amendment on the November 2024 ballot. The Arkansas Abortion Amendment proposes restricting the state's ability to limit abortions before 18 weeks. So we know that babies can feel pain at 18 and 20 weeks. 18 weeks after fertilization, or in cases of rape, incest, fatal fetal anomaly, or to protect the life of the mother. Now, currently, it's only you can only have an abortion in Arkansas if the life of the mother is at harm in an emergency situation. Currently, Arkansas law bans abortions except in cases of medical emergency to save the life of the mother. Of course, we all know what happened in June of 2022. We had a lot of the Rainbow Gestapo in the middle of celebrating the sin of pride in the month of June, and that was all upended when the Supreme Court decision came down in June that Roe versus Wade was no longer going to be the law of the land, which meant Arkansas's trigger law that was passed into law by Senator Jason Rapert would take effect, essentially banning abortion in Arkansas. Something that has saved thousands of lives here in the state since that has taken place. But that's not enough for the godless left, and I'm just going to be real here, folks. They're coming for our children in all kinds of ways, and the fact that the Roe versus Wade was overturned has meant that's one less way they can come for our children. If they do survive the murderers who want to kill babies in the womb, they also now have people that want to get them to take puberty blocking hormones. If not, go through with the surgery, and basically it's part of a depopulation agenda where you have people that won't ever be able to have kids, even if they want to change their minds at a later date. Well, too bad, you've already done irreparable damage, and congratulations, you have the bone density of like a wishbone on a chicken, right? And that is a whole nother can of worms, also a national security issue. But look, you can tell that I'm pretty worked up about this, because it turns my stomach, and we're going to do our best to get the word out and fight this head on. Specifically, the proposed amendment says that the state shall not prohibit, penalize, delay, or restrict abortion services in cases of rape, incest, fatal fetal anomaly, or to protect the woman's life or a physical disorder, physical illness, or physical injury. The amendment also says the state shall not prohibit, penalize, delay, or restrict abortion services within 18 weeks of fertilization. The popular name for the proposal is the Arkansas Abortion Amendment of 2024. To make the ballot, a constitutional amendment needs at least 90,704 verified signatures. So you can look for, basically all of the progressive wokesters in the state of Arkansas, and we do have our fair share to come out of the woodwork in order to allow for the murder of babies in the state of Arkansas. Griffin had twice. Now, listen, let's give Tim Griffin credit here. Griffin had twice rejected ballot language for the Arkansas Abortion Amendment, citing details in the proposal that were unclear or misleading. However, Griffin said the group's third submission compelled him to rewrite the amendment's popular name and the ballot title with minor changes to certify it. Well, I will just tell you the fact that he rejected it twice is a good thing. And again, I know eventually you can get sued, but at the same time, like, see, it's January though, so they've got there's going to be a cutoff date. When do they have? Did I just read that a second ago? They're going to have to submit their signatures by a certain date in order for it to be on the November ballot this year. But you talk about a big turnout. I mean, I know there's going to be people that are going to turn out to vote for President Trump, who is, obviously going to be the nominee, unless Nikki Haley or somebody tries to steal it from him at the convention. As of this recording here, we are right on the heels of Trump winning in New Hampshire. Nikki Haley had to have Democrats. 70% of the turnout there were people who were not Republicans that voted for Nikki Haley. You want to talk about a big turnout in Arkansas, though. You put a ballot initiative like this on there. I mean, it's going to have to be all hands on deck. I'm telling you. It's going to have to be all hands on deck to save the lives of children in Arkansas. I do not put it past these people to, by hook or by crook, I'm telling you, we have taken their human sacrifice away. They want to be able to sacrifice kids. I'm telling you, that's what it is. We like to think that we're somehow evolved into these evolved sensibilities, and we're the exact same as the Aztecs sacrificing people on top of ziggurats. It's really no different. No different. Tim Griffin says, quote, when reviewing proposed ballot initiatives, I follow an 80-year-old process. I am and always have been strongly pro-life, but the law does not allow me to consider my own personal views. I am guided by the law and the law alone. I routinely certify proposals I personally oppose. Conversely, I routinely reject proposals I personally support. Well, you know what? I get that. Look, and I get that is the status quo. That is a point of view that I, in the past, would have said that's perfectly fine. But at this point, yeah, I mean, I'm just not there anymore. I'm not there anymore. I want a government that rewards good and punishes evil, and that's just kind of where I'm coming from these days. So, however, even with Griffin's approval, so here it is, the proposed amendment could face legal challenges. You should be aware that experience has shown a correlation between the length and complexity of initiated measures and their susceptibility to a successful ballot title challenge. Okay, so you should be aware that the experience has shown a correlation between the length and complexity of initiated measures and their susceptibility to a successful ballot title challenge, Griffin wrote in his opinion. Any ambiguity in the text of a measure could lead to a successful court challenge. And so there we go. We also have the Supreme Court that could potentially throw this ballot off, or throw this initiative off the ballot if they do get the 90,000 plus signatures that they have to get. And you know what? I'm telling you here. I think it's good that he has delayed it as much as he has, Tim Griffin. And I'm just telling you, I don't. This idea that I want everything to appear. We've got to be fair. No, we don't have to be fair. We're talking about murdering children, okay? So, no, I'm not going to give this other side. So I want all hands on deck. I want everybody. Any Arkansas Supreme Court justices, start telling them about this. Start letting them know, hey, when push comes to shove, you guys are going to have to act accordingly. And you guys are going to have to do, if you get the opportunity to strike this down and save children's lives, I mean, it's not even an option, right? It's not even like a second thought where you even consider it. You have to stand up for the sanctity of life, because this is not about what man thinks. This is about what God thinks, okay? Republican politicians often refer to Arkansas as the most pro-life state, citing the state's strict ban on abortions as proof of their commitment to this issue. Republican supermajorities in the state legislature have met strong resistance to proposed changes in the state's current abortion law. A proposed bill to include an exception for lethal fetal abnormalities in the state's abortion ban failed to make it out of committee during last year's legislative session. Also in the last session, lawmakers passed a law authorizing the Secretary of State to make plans for a monument to the unborn. Yeah, exactly right. I remember that. Never again. Jerry Cox, president of Family Council, a conservative Christian group that lobbied for the state's abortion ban, released a statement. Here's what Jerry Cox said. We're going to get him on conservative Arkansas media very soon. This is a radical amendment legalizing abortion in a way Arkansas has never seen before. It writes abortion into the Arkansas Constitution. It erases virtually all of Arkansas's pro-life laws, and it allows abortion on demand without restriction through the first 18 weeks of pregnancy. So, all hands on deck. I say all that to say, all hands on deck. Hey, in other news, we've got this story here, the LEARNS Act. So there's a voucher system now. A lot of people are looking forward to this. A lot of teachers still don't like LEARNS Act. You know what? I've heard a lot of people say, the teachers that were there for, had been working this whole time, they're very upset that starting teacher pays now like $50,000, and they're mad about that. I'm like, why would you be mad about that? I mean, that if I needed anything else to give me like less hope for our public education system, the hearing that teachers are jealous that they didn't start at $50,000, but this new teacher, fresh out of college is starting at $50,000. I'm sorry, I don't know why you would be mad about that. I mean, paying these teachers $50,000, $50,000 is still not a lot of money, but there's a ton of turnover in Arkansas's education department where teachers get burned out really quick, and one of the reasons why is because they're making $30,000, $35,000. Starting at $50,000 is a good start. Probably should be more. Anyway, so there's a voucher program for private schools and homeschoolers. Any of you homeschoolers out there, I know we have homeschoolers that listen to the show. So the application period, the application period to apply for your student voucher is coming up in April. For Arkansas families that want to obtain a first-time state-funded vouchers of more than $6,800 per year for the child's private or homeschool enrollment in the coming 2024-2025 school year. Now, it will come with strings attached. We will figure out exactly what those are. I know one of those strings is that, hey, if you're a homeschool student, you take the money, you will have to give your student, your child at home, some sort of test once a year. You get to administer the tests as a parent, and the way I read this, you then report to the state what the test results are. So Daryl Smith, Assistant Commissioner for School Choice and Parent Empowerment in the Arkansas Division of Elementary and Secondary Education, on Tuesday presented an update on the plans for what will be the second year of Educational Freedom Account Program. Smith said the application period is starting a little later than initially planned in 2024-2025 because the state is in the process of taking bids from companies to manage the account. Additionally, the state is continuing to draft rules of the particulars of carrying out the program. So initial set of permanent rules was drafted in the fall of 2023. Any of these rules, they're not firm yet, but they're going to have to be okayed by the Arkansas Governor's Office. Smith said the private and home schools that participate in the voucher program can select their own curriculum, but it must include teaching English, language arts, math, science, and social studies. I mean, I don't know what homeschool is like, oh, we're not going to teach English and math and science and social studies. Additionally, those students and schools that participate in the program must take a reference test every spring and report the results to the state. There are about 15 different tests from which you can choose. Huh, okay. All right. So there you go. I mean, now, is it possible that down the road, there's some more strings that are attached to this that are more, tyrannical? Yeah, we don't know what the government's going to look like in 10 years here. Yeah. I mean, they could start coming for homeschool parents the way Germany comes for homeschool parents. I mean, there's German family had to flee. German family had to flee America because the German government was after them. They were Christian, by the way, and they wanted to homeschool their kids. I mean, Arkansas's homeschool law, thanks to Jerry Cox, back during the 90s, the way that the story goes is back during the 90s, there was no way you were going to get Democrats. I'm going to tie these two stories together, homeschooling and abortion. Back in the 90s, there was nothing but Democrats, and you could not get the Democrats to budge on abortion. They were for it. They didn't want to mess with it. Call it ignorance, call it actively participating in evil. I don't know. Some people say, look, they didn't realize. They thought it really was just a clump of cells. They didn't realize the science behind it. Regardless of the fact, people got educated. People figured it out. They became pro-life, and that's a good thing. But in the meantime, in the 90s, when that wasn't the case and Arkansas wasn't a pro-life state, the only thing that you could get these Democrats to listen to was homeschool moms. Homeschool moms that would show up to the Capitol, aided by the Family Council and Jerry Cox, to basically give Arkansas the most deregulated homeschooling environment in the nation. And that's a good thing. Now we have the LEARNS Act that's coming alongside now, offering to give taxpayer money back to the family per child, $6,800. And, it can be used on school supplies and things like that. I don't know if it can also be used. I don't know the full list of what it can be used on. We need to find that out, though. But this is a good thing. I think this is a good thing. Money actually come. I thought this was a pipe dream. I mean, I know the school choice people. I know the school choice people in the lobby here have been working for a long time to get something like this. I never actually thought it would happen. I used to talk about this on the radio all the time. I used to say, this money should come back to the taxpayer. If they want it, it should follow them wherever they want to go. I never dreamed they would actually get it done, though, especially would it come back to homeschool families, right? You see nationally, most people who homeschool their kids are Christians, and you see nationally and, from the media, just an anti-Christian, anti-white bias really just permeates every fabric of our culture these days. But that's not happening here in Arkansas, right? And that's a good thing, and I'm very, very thankful for that. Last but not least, the final story I wanted to cover, this is from the Daily Caller. A guy by the name of Mike McKenna is upset with John Bozeman and other Rhino Republicans for backing a carbon tax. That's right, Arkansas's John Bozeman. This was back on the 21st of January. The story reads, last Thursday, the Senate Committee on Environment and Public Works reported legislation, the Prove It Act. Now, according to McKenna, says it sets the stage and lays the foundation to impose a carbon dioxide tax on American families, workers, and consumers. So it's this idea of climate change and whether or not Republicans are going to reject the fake, phony presuppositions of the left that are based on lies and reject it altogether. Are they going to try to play ball and actually legitimize this idea that carbon dioxide drives up temperature and that we can change human behavior and control the weather? Now, you may think we can change human behavior and control the weather, but I don't. I don't think human behavior controls the weather. Maybe other equipment does. This new energy tax was voted out of committee 14-5 with 4 Republicans. Senator Kevin Cramer from North Dakota, an energy-producing state. Senator John Bowman from Arkansas, a Walmart-producing state. I added that part. Senator Graham of South Carolina, Flimsy Lindsey, and most inexplicably, Senator Cynthia Loomis from Wyoming, another energy-producing state. They joined 10 Democrats on the committee to create this new tax. 5 Republicans, led by Senator Capito from West Virginia, voted against the new energy tax. Like all energy taxes, this one will fall hardest on the poor. Unbelievable. It'll fall hardest on the poor, the elderly, those on fixed incomes, and local institutions that have limited budgets like schools and hospitals. The legislation sponsors, which include Senator Cramer, have tried to disguise the actual intention of the legislation. So, because, the way that McKenna here in this Daily Caller piece is describing it, that somebody like Senator John Bozeman is going to dispute this characterization. I voted for a tax increase. So how are they going to disguise it? So they're trying to disguise the actual intention of the legislation, which is to increase the price of energy and everything grown, made, or transported with energy in an attempt to address global warming with propaganda about being tough on our trade competitors, including China. So that's what it'll be. It's to fight China. The charade is so embarrassingly thin, though, that even Politico ignored it and declared it a headline. Senate OK's carbon tariff. Man, what a great synonym for the word tax. I promised no new tax increases, but I didn't say anything about tariff increases. I didn't say anything about tariffs. I can increase your tariffs all day long because I didn't promise not to raise your tariffs. I promised not to raise your taxes. The legislation directs the team Biden over at the Department of Energy to set up the infrastructure that would be needed to tax imported goods based on their carbon dioxide content. These taxes, which are called tariffs, are imposed on imported goods, could be imposed by the executive branch without any congressional votes. Of course, that'll just raise prices everywhere else, folks. You know that. It's a tax increase. It's more money going to the government, the ever-ending purse strings of the government. Congressional, let's see, hopefully the House Republicans reject this. But, yeah, there you have it. People are wondering why Republicans supported this, including, right there, you see it on your screen, Senator John Boozman from Arkansas say it ain't so. Yet here it is. Yeah. Yeah, so remember that the next time you're at, I don't know, a Reagan Day dinner or a Lincoln Day dinner or whatever they're calling them these days. I just remember that story. Maybe come with questions, because at some point, and this continues to happen, when Washington, D.C. is just, the more I think about it, the solutions to our problems are not going to come from Washington, D.C. I don't think it's possible these days because we continually give these guys power to go fix our problems, and they continually come back to us with excuses as to why it can't be done. And there's no question that the people in charge of this country do not have the best interests of the average Americans at heart. There is too much money going around. There's too many people who are bought and paid for, too many people who are controlled, and who knows? Who knows? We all know, and this may get us removed off of Facebook, I don't know, but we all know what the Jeffrey Epstein situation was about. It was a blackmail operation similar to Hugh Hefner having cameras all over the Playboy Mansion. Okay, it was a blackmail intelligence gathering operation, and Jeffrey Epstein took it to the next level. And because they was no longer disgraceful, because we're getting sicker and sicker and sicker and sicker, it wasn't disgraceful to have somebody cheating on their wife and adultery. I mean, come on, look, vice presidential potential candidate for Trump's VP is Kristi Noem, and she's rumored to have an extramarital affair with Corey Lewandowski. Nikki Haley, being supported by every neocon and warmongering person in the world, has well documented had 2 extramarital affairs. Okay, so that's no longer disgraceful at all. So they needed somebody like Epstein to get people to do things that are still disgraceful and that you can be used against you to get you to do what. It's just a great way to tamp down the populist will of the people, and that's where we are. That's what people. That's what politicians are doing these days. Very, very few of them are not bought and paid for or totally sold out and loyal to particular interests. And I'm not saying every one of them is caught up in the Epstein scandal, but you know what? We're never going to know, are we? Are we ever going to know? We're never going to really know, are we, right? They got arrested and they got convicted of trafficking kids to no one. That's all the time we have on Conservative Arkansas Media. My name is Paul Harrell. Be sure to like this on Facebook or share it over on YouTube or share it on your friends' page. We really appreciate it. We're trying to bring you Arkansas news that you don't get anywhere else. We appreciate it. My name is Paul Harrell. We'll see you next time.